Well, you use the word committed. I've used the word, are you committed or are you interested? And I get a lot of people that I talk to that are interested, but they're not committed. When you're committed, you will get rid of all the excuses, right? If you said, hey, if I'm committed, I'm going to work Wednesday night to grow to grow my agency, or I'm going to go out and personally produce, then stay committed to that cause, because you can always find distractions. I mean, we're inundated with stuff to get distracted. So if you blocked out that time, you do it. I mean, you look at people that go to the gym. My wife's a competitive bodybuilder, right? She's like, I got to block out the gym from this time to this time. You got to do it.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. And dude, I got a special guest, man, who's been on numerous times. We get a ton of positive feedback. Quick story before I bring him in. He had an agent from Tampa who's struggling that called him literally this morning when he's back in town looking for help because he loved the episode that we did together. So I'm telling you what, you're going to have a ton of notes. You're going to have a ton of ideas. And when you have some of those, let us know in comments below what you've loved. And so please welcome back, man. He's phenomenal at navigating change, helping agents get paid and build a book of business, whether it's an agent or an agency. He's got a bunch of killer agencies and managers, which we've been featuring on the podcast, if you've noticed, right? So please welcome back from Brady Insurance Marketing, Mr. Ty Brady.
Thanks for having me, Cody, again.
Thank you, bro.
You know, I am excited for people out there to see my team, because this is just a handful of them, right? Yeah. We'll do more with some more of my managers, but awesome. I've got a phenomenal team, you know, across the country, but it's getting... You know, I think I was telling you about the guy that called me this morning, and he's like, you know, hey, I'm not a part of your team. And I said, but if I can, in the back of my mind, if I can give him a little tip or advice to help him be successful, it helps every insurance agency win, right? And your whole brand, right, is, you know, the 8% that make it, the 92% that don't. And if we can give back, and that's what it's about.
Amen. So important. And it's that way. I mean, it's that way on this side of the business. It's that way if you're going to see people. Like, your goal is to give back and help them. And, you know, you do a good job of that. You always come through as, like, someone who cares. Like, there's times where, it's funny, there's times where I'll brag on him for a second because he won't. There's times where we do stuff, and I'm like, he's like, bro, I got flooded. And I'm like, man, what is it about Ty that people are attracted to? And I really believe it's, you're a humble dude. You care a lot, you know, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you really like seeing people win. And I don't think people see you as like this, you know, perfect person either. Like, you know, they see you and they're like, dude, he's just a normal guy. Like, I think I can do it too, you know? So I don't know if that's like, I don't know if you think about that kind of stuff, but like, that's what I've seen to be true.
Well, thank you. I just, you know, work hard. You know, every day I want to work for perfection, but if I can get at least to excellent every day and lay my head down on my pillow at night, knowing that I had integrity and did the best I could, and that's all I could do.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Give back, right?
Yes. Diane actually talked about excellence yesterday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit, like striving for excellence, you know, which is really cool. You've mentioned too about like, there's a lot of changes going on within the industry. You're a very busy individual. You're building a company that has exploded these last few years, by the way. I've not because of the work that we're doing, maybe minutely, but honestly, like his company, whether we're helping or not, has like been amazing to see the growth and just be a part of that, seeing that, which is cool. Also, you're a family man.
Yes.
Love spending time with family, you know? And so if you're out there and you're like, man, I want to make money, but I want to not neglect my family, dude, this guy's as much of a family man as anybody you'll see in the industry, which I love and respect. Now he's also running for mayor in his city.
That's a whole other story, but we're here, we're in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Crazy. Well, real quick, we're going to get to a bunch of stuff, by the way, so if you know, bear with me. Where'd the mayor thing come from? Because maybe this will speak to time management.
Well, look, the story is this. I was on the show a while ago, about a year ago. If anybody's been in the Medicare space, there were some changes that were on the docket for fees and so on. So when that happened, obviously that's my livelihood. So I reached out to all of our state senators, congressmen, and just wanted to be a voice. And they didn't really understand the insurance industry or maybe the impact that the ruling was going to make. And so when I was talking to them, they got a background on insurance. Like, hey, this is what we do and how valuable we are. You know, we're not the big bad wolf out there. We're not the bad apples. Yeah, sure, there are some bad apples, but I was able to tell the story on what we do and how we're able to help that demographic. So there's a lot of turmoil in my city. And so when they were struggling, trying to get things done and, you know, trying to work, they're like, hey, we need strong leadership. And so they reached out and they said, hey, will you do this? And there's a whole bunch of issues, right? There's a whole other ball game. But the fact is that's why I'm here, leadership. You know, they said we need strong leadership and we need people that can do it. And I can. I mean, I got a strong team behind me. My agency's running, it's thriving. And, you know, everyone's like, well, is the mayor part-time, full-time? It should be full-time, but it's part-time, but I'm going to give it my all. And the time that I've been spent with youth sports, you know, from wrestling, baseball, lacrosse, football, that time is going to be dedicated to the city. Yeah. Because I'm not leaving. Yeah.
It's like, was that Jordan Belfort back in the day on the movie? I'm not leaving. Yeah.
No, I'm not leaving. Well, my daughter's 8. She's like, Dad, I want to graduate from the local high school. And so I'm committed to my kids and we're there.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. That's amazing. That's cool. And you're committed to the city. You want to help out. You see as a way to, you know, improve something and change something, which is amazing. You know, that you believe in something that much and you step up and do it. That's who Ty is, man. Like he sees it as a chance to like get involved and help, which is really cool. Have you ever considered doing something like that?
Yeah. Back in, yes and no. I mean, it's like, it's been out there, but not like a priority, right? It's not like a goal I set out, hey, I want to run to be a mayor. It was one of those things where I just said, now's the time. And
is it the perfect time?
There's never a perfect time.
I would agree with that.
There's never a perfect time.
I would agree.
And I'm telling you, I mean, you talk about being overwhelmed, anxiety, all the emotions that come with it, and it's scary. But at the end of the day, I know it's where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you believe in a higher power and the higher power says, hey, you need to do this, win or lose, I'm supposed to be doing it, whatever the outcome is, and I'm going to give it my all. Cool. I'm not in it to lose.
Yeah. But you've always been that way. I do strike you as very competitive.
Yes.
Here's one thing I know. This is actually really cool. When we get together, I love getting an update on where you rank and compare to all these other companies in the industry and in your territory, in different Medicare carriers, the entire nation. And trust me, if anybody knows where they stand, this guy knows where he stands. Every time, bro.
Here's a funny story. So I told myself, hey, I want to beat this certain individual or agency, right? And be careful with your goals. I'm going to tell you this because I set out, okay, here's a goal. I want to beat XYZ person or agency. Well, guess what? I beat them, but I was in second. So I was like, I'm going to be number one. I'm not going to beat this guy. I'm going to go because I accomplished what I was supposed to. I did what I was supposed to, but I ended up second.
But were they in first and then somebody else moved to first?
Someone else moved to first. And then, so they were third, I was second. So I was like, and I just like, lesson learned.
Yeah. So in that example, like talk through that. So was it the right goal to pass this person? Should have been a number goal. So maybe you end up at first no matter what, or hey, it was the right goal, it worked out, just doesn't always work out the way you want.
It was the right goal. It was a goal, first of all, which is really important. So very a goal and a benchmark, and then measuring the data towards that goal because that's important. But I shot myself in the foot because I said, hey, I just want to beat this person. And then looking back, I'm like, no, my goal should have been, I want to be number one in this category, whether it's apps per agent, whether it's onboarding, whatever the goal is, those goals you have, measure them, and then make sure that number one always now.
Was that target enrollments?
There was apps. Yep.
Apps,
everything's tracked by apps.
Yeah.
Amount of applications.
Man. That's awesome. I'm going to interrupt the podcast to tell you about our CABOOM leads that are literally blowing up. If you would love to never get disconnected numbers or wrong numbers ever again, then you will love our leads at CABOOM Leads. All of our lead types, we text the prospect a 6-digit security code. They go back in the funnel and put that in to verify that it is a real accurate cell phone number, and they've responded to a text message. We do this for all of our lead types. If you haven't tried CABOOM Leads, you can use coupon code podcast to get 10% off of your very first order at CABOOM.com. Back to the show. What's your organization do for those that don't realize the size of your organization, by the way?
A lot. 20, 25, 28,000 apps a year. Yeah. So it's
crazy. 20 to 30,000 apps a year. That is a absolute insane.
But some of the benchmarks they measure, like apps per agent, right? I compete with agencies that may be bigger than me, but my apps per agent, I just got a report, is 21 apps per agent, which is high.
Per
average. Like an average. When you look at an average, all the agents in my agency.
Year, a month, or?
That's a good question. I think it's year.
Okay.
21 apps per year. So right now, if you're halfway through the year, that should be 40, 42. So you're talking 42 apps per year average, because there are agents that do hundreds, right?
Correct.
There's agents that do one.
Yep.
I mean, I got the bottom third of my agency. They'll do 1 or 2 a year, but all those adds up to reach that 25, 28,000 apps. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. You said a couple things too. You said measuring the data.
Correct.
Which I'm a huge fan of. What do you do when you're looking and measuring data, and how does that apply to an agent?
Well, as an individual agent, it would be for the agents, because agents that come to my agency, they can be part-time, full-time, or sometime. So if they're a full-time agent, I say, listen, you should be write 20 apps a month, whatever it is. I mean, it could be a hospital indemnity plan. It could be a supplement. It could be a Medicare Advantage plan. And my mentors always say, if you write an app a day, a year from now, it's going to look completely different.
Yeah.
And I have agencies or agents that write just ancillary products like dental, vision, hearing, hospital indemnity, maybe a life policy. And those ancillary product sales, besides the Medicare Advantage or Med Sups, pays their house payment. And they're already in the appointment. It's like, hey, just talk to them about it. Whether they engage you or not, it's a different story, but they don't know what they don't know. But every person that's out there that has a Medicare Advantage plan, there's a gap in their plan. Every single person. 4 out of 4 still need more.
Wow.
Right? 4 out of 4 still need more. And they're $30, $40, $50 a month to the consumer, but it protects them against risk.
Yeah. You also said an app a day. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I've always said like an app a day. I don't know. Maybe it's not the doctor away, but maybe it keeps the creditors away. I don't know.
Sure.
Something, right?
Yeah.
I used to strive for that as a new agent. Like my goal was an app a day. If you think about that, there's about 250 business days a year. And man, 250 apps, most people don't do 250 apps a year. You know, within your organization, there's a bunch that do, but like that's not normal, which is cool.
Yeah.
How has that become the standard within your organization, where a lot of organizations, it's like, dude, if they have a manager that does 8 a month, you know, or 100 a year, we'll take a bunch of, you know, average people. You've clearly strived. You'll take full-time, part-time sometime, you said, which is amazing. That's cool. It's up to them. They're independent.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I love that, you speak to that too. Some people are very micromanaging and controlling, and Ty's not, you know. You're even inviting your whole team to come spend a few days here, which has been amazing. Because you believe in taking care of your team, and you believe in excess. You believe, you know, everybody can grow and do better, which is cool. I love that mentality. But you've set a standard that if you want to do, you know, you've had several managers in here already that are managing books of business of 500, 600, 700 clients, and they're managing a few dozen agents at the same time.
Correct.
How has that become the norm within your organization, where it's not always the norm?
Well, part of it is I didn't know any better, right?
Okay.
So first of all, I mean,
That's a good answer,
a little
actually.
naive. I mean, I didn't know. I had a mentor that said, hey, this is what you need to do. And that just trickled down.
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, when he says, hey, if you're going to be full-time, I expect you to write 20 apps a month. And he's like, if you're not there yet, we're going to get you there. And that's always, it's just there. It's like, hey, you know, when you in sports, right? Hey, the goal should be, we're going to win the championship, not win this game. The goal that you got to look further beyond the horizon. I think some people are so worried about today, they forget about what the long term. Again, we talk about goals and data and all those things. What is the end result? Where do you want to be a year from now? You have to have that out there and work towards that as well. Not only that, and today.
Yeah, and it's less of like, yeah, that's cool, because it's less of like, you know, I've got to do this now, or I've got to do this, or man, I really just want to be successful here in 3 years. It's like, no, what are we going to do this year? You know, and this year, people overestimate what they can accomplish in a week a lot of times, but they underestimate what they can accomplish in a year, or they underestimate what they can accomplish, or they overestimate the year and they underestimate the decade, So it is kind of crazy when you're talking about data and striving for stuff and goals, like what's possible when you really commit.
Correct. Well, you use the word committed. I've used the word, are you committed or are you interested? And I get a lot of people that I talk to that are interested, but they're not committed. When you're committed, you will get rid of all the excuses, right? If you said, hey, if I'm committed, I'm going to work Wednesday night to grow my agency, or I'm going to go out and personally produce, then stay committed to that cause, because you can always find distractions. I mean, we're inundated with stuff to get distracted. So if you blocked out that time, you do it. I mean, you look at people that go to the gym. My wife's a competitive bodybuilder, right? She's like, I got to block out the gym from this time to this time. You got to do it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, shoot, be a professional bodybuilder in competitions and all that. You got to be freaking committed.
Yeah.
Not just interested, and work your tail off, right? Which she does.
Yeah.
It's
She's
cool.
6 weeks out from competing in Pittsburgh.
Again.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm excited to go to Pittsburgh. Never been to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Well, now they got Aaron Rodgers, so maybe I'm not a Steelers fan because I'm a Cowboys fan. But Side note, I love interested or committed. Here's one thing you made me think about. Like you mentioned, like, hey, even if you're a manager, you can still produce at a high level. I kind of have 2 questions, because I see managers that they have like 8 people writing business, and they just totally stop producing. Because they got they got to do all this management of people now. What's your honest thoughts on that?
Well,
and you may have a mix within your organization, so
yes. Well, no, it's just so.
And at what point is it okay to? At what point do you not have to produce? Because when you're managing 8 people, you're gonna be broke if you don't produce.
Yeah. So I still have about 800 policyholders myself. So the first 5 years.
800?
Yeah. 800.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I have 800 policyholders myself, but I still take their phone calls if they call me, because the book of business, people are always worried about the service work on the back end and there really isn't. If you answer the questions, you do your drips, you send your birthday card, you send your holiday card, you send an annual notice of change. I mean, the business is really sticky, but it's a point of, you've got to, if you want to scale, you have to have people, because at some point there's just not enough hours in the day.
Amen.
And so, but you got to look at it when you're running an agency, the override is very small. I mean, most of the money is going to the agent. I mean, we're getting an increase next year on commissions, and it goes to the agent. So if you're going to grow an agency, and I think a lot of agents they're like, well, you make all this money. You don't, but I'm writing 30,000 apps a year, and let's call it $2 or $3 an app.
Extreme volume.
Yeah, it's all volume. So at some point you got to make am I going to continue to do, and I have agents that are, how do you say this? They're good producers, but they're not good managers. Yep. And they're like, I don't want to be left alone. I want to go on the beach and I want to be left alone. I don't want to take those calls to help an agent, right? Then I have managers that kill it and may not be a high producer. So it's a juggling act, trying to keep it all, but it's finding the right people that connect with the right people to help them be successful. Does that make sense? It's more about the people than how can I get them tied with the right how-to. I mean, people are like, well, what about product training? Listen, product training, that's on you. You get inundated every single day with 20, 30 emails from different carriers. If you want to learn the how-to, like the guy that called me right before your show, this is the how-to. And he's like, well, they keep telling me they're not interested. And I said, well, to me, I would ignore that question. Why? You haven't even been able to talk to them. If you're getting the objection in the first few seconds, be like, ask another question.
Amen.
And I said, you're working a lead that they requested information on, so then maybe pull the lead out. So I give him a few tips, and we'll see what he does. He's like, can you care if I report back at the end of the day? I said, great. I'd love to hear it. Love to hear how you did today.
I love that question.
Yeah.
So give a report back. That's great.
Yeah.
Huh.
He offered it up. So I was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That means somebody's like, they really want to grow and they're coachable. That's hard to find too, man. Like, so many people are uncoachable. Like, I don't work with people that don't listen and aren't coachable. Because I'm coachable. But shoot, there's been some stuff that you've mentioned or coached me on these last few years that have helped me.
Really?
Yeah. Why not?
No, that's great. I love it. I just, you don't know the impact you make.
The mayor?
Yeah. You're next?
No. He's not coaching me on that, by the way. I'm not ready. Timing is very poor for Cody to even consider stuff like that. But, yeah, man. I mean, I think we can all. Now, here's what's interesting. We can all learn from others.
Correct.
However, do I think I can personally learn something more from hanging out with a Ty Brady, who's at a very high income level, very successful husband and father that is building a business, managing time really well, makes, we'll just say, incredible money. He can get specific if he wants, but he probably won't. Incredible money. That also, versus me just hanging out with new agents all day. Obviously, I'm going to learn more hanging out with Ty.
Yeah. You know, something's been really hard. I'm usually the one that's giving money, right?
Yeah.
And I need people the opportunity to donate my campaign for mayor. You know how hard it is for me to ask for money?
Oh, I'm sure.
But I need them to be able to, you know, do their part. And I ask, and I'm not pushy. I'm just like, hey, you know, if you'd like to, here you go.
Yeah.
And it is, oh, man.
It's probably hard.
Yeah.
What are you trying to raise?
50,000.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what they figure. But when you look at the size of the city versus, you know, they kind of have this.
Yeah.
My campaign manager has these like, okay, here you have this many, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a formula. This is basically what you should allocate to spend. Anything over that wouldn't be advantageous.
Interesting.
So.
And the good thing is, even if you receive $0, you could still fund it and be fine, right? Because you've built something. Now, would it help? Yes.
Yeah.
We love, you know, I mean, I would love going into stuff like, yeah, if I can get creative. It's like me going to the 8% conference every year. If I can, can I fund it all? Yeah, probably.
But could you make a bigger, greater impact with people helping?
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
So I have to allow them to help.
Yes. And some people do. A lot of people like helping. Like, I bet you have people literally come out of the woodworks that like want to be involved or lift a hand or be a volunteer or do whatever, you know, like it's, you know, I mean, he's probably got people volunteering to be security around town. keep your distance. No autographs and pictures, please.
No. Oh.
I'm not the mayor yet, man.
No.
You know? No, I'm kidding.
I hear you though.
You would never. As funny as Ty would never want the life of a real celebrity. You wouldn't want that life because that's just not. That's not who you are. Like that is not your style in any way.
I don't want people to tell me where I can go, how I can go, and be like, oh, you got to be careful. I don't want to have to watch my back, right? I just want to enjoy life and be me.
That's right. Tell Lindsay to stop telling me what to do every day. Man, we've got a lot of different directions. This has been amazing. I'm not done yet, but here's one thing I was thinking about. What about we talked about producers and managers? Also, how fun has it been to have him back on the podcast? By the way, traits of top producers and what makes a good manager. Like, what makes a good producer? What makes a good manager?
A good manager is somebody who's willing to lead, right? They've got to be willing to lead, and a top producer is somebody who's really competitive and knows that it's them against them, right? Meaning it's not them against anyone else because their level of success is measured against themselves. Meaning that it's nice to know, like when I say 20 apps a month, so that's a goal. I've said 20 apps a month. I've had agents come in, they're like, well, I'm only writing 5. And I said, well, how often are you working? Well, I'm only working Wednesdays and Tuesdays. I'm like, well, you got to give yourself a little bit of grace then because you're going up against the guy that's working 9 to 5. You want to write 20 apps a month? I'm telling you, you can do it. You got to work 9 to 5. I'm not asking you to work Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just more than you're already doing, right?
Yeah.
Put in more effort than you're already putting in. And I said, so to get an app a week with the time you're committing, I'd say that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
So give yourself a little bit of grace.
I would too. And it's like it's a lot of times if you want to double the output, you double the input.
Yes.
Most people don't want to double the input.
Correct.
Like, Ty, how can I work less but write double? Like, what? What did you ask?
It doesn't work.
That's the questions I get, though.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You're not. But some other things is that accessible. For a good manager, being accessible, because when an agent's calling you, they need help, right? They're not calling to chit-chat. And then not only that, but understanding when you take a manager or if you're a manager and you take a team, you owe it to them and their families and to be successful. And my mentor used to always say, you owe it to them until they quit. And I've always just trickled that down like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I owe it to them until they quit. And I think, when do I know when they quit? And he used to say this. He's like, you'll know. right? And he's like, and that's all I can tell you. You know when they quit.
Yeah.
And at that point, you don't owe it to them anymore.
That's right.
Another thing that he said.
And it doesn't mean that they're not coming to meetings. Like,
correct.
You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean they quit. They're disconnected.
Disconnected. And he would also come back and he says, you gotta be careful with this. He says, when I decided to manage, right? He says, not do you owe it to them and their families, but you also have to know that you're going to give somebody your blood, your sweat, your tears, and they're going to turn around and tell you that you didn't do anything to help them at the end of the day. And I said, unfortunately, in my experience, I can't force somebody to get off the couch. I can't force somebody to make the phone calls. I can't force somebody to go to an appointment. Do you know how many times I've called an agent after they've set an appointment? They're all excited they got this appointment, right? And then they call me and I call the follow-up and they're like, I didn't go. I called them and they didn't answer, so I didn't go.
Jeez Louise.
I can't help that. And I'm like, you spent all the time, the money to get the appointment. And for whatever reason, you decided to make a phone call, and because they didn't pick up,
yes,
you decided not to go to their house. You know how many times I've got porched where I had an appointment and it turned into something else? It was on my schedule. I'm going.
Yeah.
And I drive home like, oh, and then something else came out of it, right?
Yeah, true.
So I can't help that.
No, that happened to me once. I didn't want to go to an appointment on a Saturday morning really early, and it was 2 hours away from home. And I called. They didn't answer. Called again, they'd answer. Called again, they'd answer. And I'm like, why the freak would I go to this? And my buddy's like, we don't have anything going on. Let's just show up, So we go, and we wait around for 15 minutes, nothing. I'm like, she forgot. Guess we'll go home. Right as we're about to pull out, she pulls in, says, oh my gosh, I totally forgot we have an appointment. Come on in. We wrote an app, a life app for $505 a month.
I could tell you the stories, hundreds of them, just like that. Yeah. Just like that.
True. It's almost like, yeah, the less you want to go, the more you probably should go.
Yeah. My wife says in our life, she's like, anytime we get that opposition, and all those things and everything that comes with it, she's like, I know that I'm doing the right thing and we've got to push through.
Amen.
And that's the thing is I can't help those agents that aren't willing to help themselves. But if they're willing to help themselves, and you said coachable, if they're willing to listen, if they're coachable, we can help them. Yeah,
it's hard to find too. Interesting you said that. I love that Amanda said that, your wife. My wife, she just said this. She said this week multiple times. Like we're going through a few things work related, and she said we are getting tested in a big way, and 8% is about to be freaking off the hook because of what we're going through right now. And I'm like, I like that outlook. Like I was talking to Diane yesterday about. No, it was John, actually.
Yes.
About all three of them, Matt, John, and Diane were great. John and I talked about sacrifice and pain.
Yes.
And it's almost like the more pain someone has been through and the more sacrifice they had to make and the tougher life was on them and childhood was on them and et cetera, the more they were willing to go through it, and the better they became because of how much they went through. And we even talked through, I'm intrigued by this with you in a big way because you are very successful. You make incredible money, and here's an example. John said he grew up in Alaska, which you knew, and he would walk to school in the snow, not like uphill and all that kind of stuff, right? But a quarter mile in the snow at least to the bus. And he said that, and he grew up with no money, they were poor. Now he has kids, and he's like, if I'm like really easy on my kids now, I'm not setting them up well for later. But you work because you want to give your family something you didn't have. I know that's important for you, but how much of that do you give to them? Because then they're maybe spoiled, maybe they don't work hard. Like that was a concern of my parents, of maybe just my sister, maybe not me, of like you work to give it to them, but then you give it to them, and then later in life, maybe they had less sacrifice, less pain, less tough, and they don't end up working as hard as you do. because it was given to them their whole life?
So I have a 22-year-old daughter. I never, talked to her about insurance. She'd been around it pretty much, growing up. She's in the insurance industry, and she's working really hard at it. Awesome. But I mean, basically, this is my responsibility as a parent, and I believe this, is that I want my kids to have food in their mouth and a roof over their head. All the other stuff is just stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if my kids wanted something, I'd be like, if you want to go earn the money, make half, I'll help you, or I'll find ways to help you make money, but I'm not doing it for you. And I've had some agents that have come to me, and they're younger, and they're like, well, my dad's been very successful in his business, and he says, his dad's basically came out and said, you're not going to ride my coattails. You got to figure it out on your own. Kick him out of the nest, right?
Good.
Like a bird going to fly. At some point, that bird's got to get kicked out and go. It either succeeds or fails. And it's going to find its way quick.
Yeah.
And that it's hard sometimes, because when you watch your kids make decisions, and you're like, what are you doing? But they've got to go through it.
Hey, man. I think, I would say my teenage years we did well, but man, like I saw my parents go through stuff, and I was, my dad especially was incredibly tough on me. Incredibly tough. Way tougher on me than any of my sisters, even close. And I think it's why I have such a drive today, is the way I was shaped as a kid, especially freaking sports related, bro. You mentioned competitive earlier. Dude, man, talk about a competitive family, and like just being like, I was almost like I was being sculpted and in the fire, so to speak, like along the way, just like, it's interesting.
Well, people are like, Ty, when are you going to slow down? When are you going to stop doing things? I'm like, I don't know how. Like, I honestly, I don't know how.
Would you want to?
No.
No, because you hear that of people, like, they start retiring and slowing down, and their health goes, that they're not as happy. You see it in big celebrities and stuff, like they stop doing, and or they get a lot of stuff and money, and they think that's going to make them happy, and it's just not. And then they end up maybe doing something crazy, So
yeah,
it's wild. You mentioned competitive. Can an agent succeed without being competitive?
No. No. You have to have some kind of drive.
Yeah.
You have to, because what's that motivating factor? And your why has to be 7 layers deep. You've got to, why do I want to do this? Why did I want to do this? The fundamental is I wanted to have a roof over my head, over my kid's head, and food in their mouths. And going home knowing that one of those two things wasn't met.
Was there times where it wasn't?
Oh yeah, I had to live with my parents.
Or very tough.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I had to live with my parents for 4 years after I had been out in the real world and making $150,000 a year and losing everything, and then having to go to mom and dad and say, hey, I don't have a paycheck and I couldn't get a job. And
dang.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll create some drive, bro.
Oh yeah,
4 years.
4 years, and then my wife sitting there. We'll get through this. We'll be okay, right? And I'd probably say every 6 months she's like, I don't know if I can do this, right? And I just kept telling her to hang on. And then the story when I came home, she only gave me a hard time one time, because everything is as earned, or was as earned, right? So I go out and sell a policy, and she's like, yeah, you made $13 this week, right? All the time I was spending out selling insurance, she made $13. She gave me a hard time one time, and then those $13 added up over time, and then that $13 went to $1,000, then $2,000 a month, and $3,000, and so on. Wow. But it was they add up.
Jeez Louise. Yeah. It does. And too, this was said yesterday a bunch too. I think maybe it was Matt. If you do enough of the right things for a long enough period of time, you're going to stack a bunch of good.
That's right.
It's just amazing what you're going to build and what's going to happen if you will just persist and keep at it. And a lot of people do stop. Diane said this on the way back from the parking lot yesterday after lunch. She said, man, it's most people stop just a little too soon.
Correct.
They just quit just a little early, man. It's crazy how true that is.
I forget how hard those days were, but when I look back and I'm driving at night, having windshield time, just got through running the 5 or 6 appointments I had set for the day, maybe sold something, maybe didn't, and realizing I'm going back to an empty hotel room, my kids are away, and I'm waiting for the week to get over to get back home to spend time with my kids, and then knowing that I was already had a plan to go out 2 days later somewhere across the country to do the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of that, travel trips?
2 years.
2 years of travel trips.
In 2012, when I decided to go from a personal producer to running an agency, I would literally get on a plane Sunday, Monday, be back I was a weekend dad.
Wow.
Weekend,
Dang.
2 years.
What was that like?
Good and bad, right? I wouldn't be a nationwide agency if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But the idea was this, is I would go to those markets. I'd order leads ahead of time. The agents that I had recruited, I would say, hey, your job is to get appointments. But I didn't have to make the phone calls to book the appointments. And then I would run appointment with them that whole week. We'd split apps, not households. I'd leave them all the extra leads and then fly home for a weekend, go to another market. But just repeated that over and over and over again. So when I was going to those markets, I was looking for people that wanted to come on my team. I wanted to help agents make money. And then I just repeated that over and over again.
Yeah.
So from Atlanta, South Carolina, Nebraska, Iowa,
wow,
you name it.
It's a cool model. It's a good idea because you're helping people, you're meeting them, you're helping them make money. Mm-hmm. You're building your own book at the same time, which is great. I mean, you've got a bunch of expenses in that between traveling and time and lead cost. It's a good model. Now
it was all gas, no brakes, baby. That's all I could say because
yeah.
again, my back was up against the wall, and I was going.
That's probably why you don't. He does, but that's why you don't want to travel constantly, probably anymore.
I still travel enough. not like the 2 years, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a year where we were traveling a bunch together, and it was a lot. And you may not want to do that much anymore because you had 2 years of constant every week. That makes sense. I get that. I mean, I've got to the point now where I freaking hate flying commercial, bro. Like.
Yeah, you and I talked about it. I was like, hey, how do you get a plane where you can go to and from? And
I met a guy yesterday, actually. This is a cool side note on the podcast. I met a guy yesterday. He lives an hour and a half to 2 hours away, probably an hour 45. A banker referred me to him, and he's got King Air that he owns. He's also got access to a jet as well. King Air is a turboprop and very safe plane. 2 engines, all that. You can pay like $1,700 an hour, and for the plane. So like New Orleans would have been 2 hours, $3,400 down, $3,400 back, and then you also pay $1,000 to him for the day. So in that case, $7,800 total, right? And but we wouldn't have to stay the night, so you miss. There's no hotels. Wouldn't have to buy 4 or 5 team members commercial flights. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't have to ship equipment. You could put it on the plane. So, interesting.
Be interesting to see where those numbers pencil out, huh?
Yeah, because there's some destinations it would make sense, and there's other destinations it would not make sense.
Yeah.
But also, too, we're creating we're launching this at 8%. We're creating like a new CA Studios product where like there's backstage, behind the scenes like content along the way, where like you and I would hang out longer than just the podcast and do some extra content for that site, those members. And it's gonna be like an Amazon Prime subscription, like really cheap. But what's really cool is I can have a videographer come the whole day when I do that kind of stuff too. It's good for branding, good content.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have a plane yet.
Yeah, I've thought about it a few times. I have.
It's hard not to think about it at some level. I thought I would have had one.
Even though I like my diamond status,
what is it?
Delta.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Delta, Diamond. Delta's really nice, man. I like Delta a lot. I'm American. I'm like the second to highest tier. I think I'm something platinum with American. I forget what the names are, but it's not executive platinum. It's the top one, I think. But
yeah, I usually book not the just comfort. And 90% of the time I get upgraded to first class, so I don't ever book a first class ticket. But
you can tell he's flew a lot, and he still flies a good amount to keep that too. Yeah, that's incredible. Plus, you have a big family, so when y'all travel, you get credit for all that, which is good. Dude, you're a beast. I appreciate all you do. If they want to keep learning from Ty Brady, stay in touch, man. What do they do? Where do they go?
Obviously, they can go to BradyInsuranceMarketing.com. I don't have any problem if someone shoots me a call, shoots me a text. I like to get back with them. I put it on the show before, but it's 1-385-800-1956. I will get back with you as soon as I love to talk to people, see any tidbits that I can help them out with. And I mean, it's never flooded me to the point where I can't handle it. So love to chat, love to catch up and just see where we can make this industry as a whole better and make a bigger impact in the world. Because I mean, we're valuable. Whatever insurance you sell, you're valuable. There's not enough of us, and we help protect families against financial risk. Period. And that's our job.
Amen.
And it's rewarding in the end.
Yeah. Also, when you guys shoot him a text or call him, man, he's either insurancing or mayoring or or familying, one of the two. So bear with him. But he responds well. In fact, as busy you are and at the level you're at, to give out your cell phone on here is still at this point, it's pretty unique. A lot of people will not do that. Just for the record,
it don't bother me. It drives me nuts that I'm dyslexic. A lot of people know that. So I prefer to have a conversation because they make fun of me of these posts that I've been posting for mayor, like, here versus here. And I'm like, I don't even care. Or a typo. I'm like, listen, if you know me, you know I'm dyslexic. I do the best I can given the circumstances I have. Yeah. And I'm going to move on.
Yeah. It's funny. I've heard people that write books that are the same way. And they're like, dude, it's a bestseller, not a best written.
Yeah. There you go.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. That's well said.
I love it. Dude, thank you for being on. You're amazing. I appreciate you being back on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Also appreciate you guys, man. Wow. What an episode. We got into a lot today. I got a whole page of notes. I would love there's going to be somebody that needs to hear this. Send it to them. Share them, share Ty's story, right? I'm telling you, if this dude can do it, you can too, even though he outworks most people I know. Either way, thanks for hanging with us. Let us know in comments below what you enjoyed. And we'll see you on the next Power Player Podcast. Kaboom.